So there you have it, in the great tradition of Atta and of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, we might add, who was also a barfly, discotheque habitué, likes strippers, lap dances, and all that. We've got yet another Islamic fundamentalist, alleged, Major Hassan, going to strip clubs, drinking beer, preferring blondes, wants lap dances in private rooms. And again, you can go back and look in my book, 9/11 Synthetic Terror. You can find the Hopsicker material in there. Interesting investigative journalism done in the area of Venice, Florida, for the 9/11 figures. You see the same thing. Are we dealing with parallel patsy lives in Plutarch's sense? I think we probably are. So one other point, when Hassan gets to Fort Hood, he goes to Osman Dankwa, a local Muslim clergyman, I think connected to the base, who seems to be a fairly straightforward figure. And he says that Major Hassan came to him and he wanted to become a community leader, a lay Muslim leader at Fort Hood. And Osman Dankwa sits him down and says, you know, there's something wrong with you, Major Hassan, because he's incoherent. He's obsessed with these themes of religion and persecution and so forth. So that's also quite interesting. Hassan, of course, a loner, couldn't find a wife, always trying to find a wife. He demands religious prerequisites for the wife, but he can't find anybody. The other thing about Hassan, Virginia Tech. Well, as soon as you say Virginia Tech, Cho Seung-hui, 33 dead, including himself, April 2007. You remember the story. Too many unanswered questions there to go into. There is a report commissioned by the governor of Virginia, Tim Kaine. It's worthless. It's the same thing, begging the question, petitio principi, does not establish that Cho did it, but assumes that Cho did it and takes it from there. You know the technique. Same as the Kaine-Hamilton report. But now, what's been going on at Virginia Tech lately? Well, January 2009, a Virginia Tech doctoral student beheaded a fellow graduate student in a campus cafe. It's a male student from China, cuts off the head of a female graduate student who had just arrived from China, decapitated her. Now, that's a rare event in the U.S., not much publicity for that one. Beheadings are rare on campuses, I would think, still even today. And then in August 2009, just this past summer, 2 Virginia Tech University students found murdered at Jefferson National Forest Campground, which is a popular hangout for students. So what in God's name is going on in or near Blacksburg, Virginia? And let me hasten to say, I don't know. Look around. Here's what you find on one website. This is Truth Seeker of the UK. Blacksburg, Virginia houses a U.S. government above top secret underground laboratory in the side of a mountain that develops weapons such as human robotic mind control programming in conjunction with DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Now, does it exist? I don't know. But this is the kind of thing that Virginia Commission should have looked into, and, of course, does not. Let me also remind you that in the wake of Cho, we had the Kazmierczak case, Northern Illinois University, February 2008, and that was 5 dead and 21 wounded and 5 dead in that incident. So we've developed at least a strain of terrorism which coexists. It's probably among the others, alongside the others. We've got this idea of the troubled loner who has now become an Islamic fundamentalist troubled loner. There's a whole unsolved complex of things connected with Cho and this Ismail Axe story with Cho, which suggests elements of what we call a fundamentalist conditioning by the intelligence agencies in regard to him, too. So I would urge people who consider themselves 9/11 truth activists to take a look at this paper and ask yourselves if it doesn't make sense to try to counteract the hysteria on this. The hysteria around this one is greater than around Cho. With Cho and Virginia Tech 2 years ago and a half, It was, it's a tragedy, it's horrible, and of course it was. But in this case, we've now got two parties. This is a little bit like the Dreyfus case, right? You've got the people who say Hassan is a victim. He's a victim of the heritage of Bush-Cheney and their unspeakable aggressive wars. And then the other side is, no, he's a terrorist. And there's also a third school, which is that these people were killed during the suppression of a mutiny on the base, probably connected to the unbelievable overstretch of the U.S. forces in the Iraq War, the escalation of the Afghan War, and so forth. The Islamophobic aspect, there's a big attempt to bring back Islamophobia. Now, you can see who's contributing. On the one side, we have the neocons and reactionaries who, want to go back to the salad days, the heady days of the war on terror, Bush-Cheney, and the attack on Iran, if they can. On the other hand, you also see that the Brzezinski forces want a continued U.S. engagement in Afghanistan because that is the key to attacking Pakistan, which is therefore the key to attacking China and Iran. So this is going on. Notice also the John Allen Muhammad execution this past week, and we've also got the seizure of these Iranian assets. A whole bunch of mosques have been seized because they're supposedly the property of an Islamic foundation based in Iran. So an office building has been seized. Also, you've got this Bank Melli, the Iranian state bank, in the middle of the mixture. So that's going on. That's going to rile up the Muslim community. So they're playing both sides, right? They're playing the reactionary Islamophobic side, and then you've got the Islamic activist side who are being pushed into a confrontation. It's all quite manipulated or quite orchestrated, wouldn't you say? So the first thing you want to do is don't take sides, but assume the point of view of reason, which is above these contending schools of opinion, which are inferior in their analytical quality and can't account for all the main facts in the case, as I've just tried to do, at least within my ability. You're also we're getting now into the phase of this negotiation with Iran. Let's just mention that. You remember the proposal was that Iran would send its uranium to France or Russia. France was then eliminated as too hostile. And that deal was supposed to then at least cool off this nuclear confrontation, if that's what you're going to call it, with Iran. And that deal now seems to have fallen through. So we're left now with a somewhat vague ultimatum by Obama and indeed by Netanyahu that there's got to be a solution to the Iranian nuclear dossier by the end of the year, right? The program has got to be neutralized. Clearly the U.S. is still blocking, and I don't even think Netanyahu is seriously preparing. He's preparing, but he's not going to unleash an Israeli attack on Iran. But this is going on now in the background. We're also going to have the trial of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, right, the barfly that I mentioned before, the supposed mastermind of 9/11. So you will now have in New York City for a period of years a patsy circus around Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and his co-defendants, and he will then use that as a soapbox to make all kinds of incendiary statements in the matter of Zacharias Musabi, who was popping off there in Alexandria, Virginia for the best part of 2 years. So everything is now in place for a significant Islamophobic campaign. And I would urge people, if you learned anything at all from the 9/11 question, you have got to understand this stuff about the patsies, the moles, the technicians, and the drills. The first thing you look for when something like this happens, are there drills going on? Is somebody talking about drills? Has the drill gone live? And I think you've got a pretty good body of information. And then, of course, who's protecting the patsy from the results of his own blatant, babbling, imprudent statements? We'll be back in a minute.